This is my response to your video, which is called How Feminism Screwed Over My Generation. So, now we will be talking about my generation, as The Who also enjoyed to do so. Now, I feel that you make a valid point in this argument. We live in a society that does have plenty of divorce, that does have plenty of... It's harder now to find any kind of relationship that goes beyond cuddling and screwing. But then again, perhaps the cause of it isn't feminism. Or perhaps feminism is a necessary evil. You seem to think that a good thing would be you get married as soon as possible. These people don't just leave. You have to keep looking, but you eventually find the person relatively quicker than you clearly have. And maybe that's not the fault of women, that's your fault. But God forbid you take a little bit of self-responsibility. But I would suggest a great society, great culture, that you would get married excessively quickly. You would live a long, happy life. Well, I don't know happy, but you would have a marriage with this person, and you would never get divorced. Here are a couple of options. Pre-Enlightenment Europe. Any strongly religious fundamental country. In case you haven't tell, I'm listing places that aren't nice to be, just either as a woman or a man. Really, you would base who you get married to by who has the most amount of money, or who your parents pick. But that's a good thing. I'm gonna get back to the parent thing, but first let's review something you said. You say that not allowing women to vote wasn't about keeping the woman down at all. Yes, it was. Oppression is oppression, no matter what you say it is. If you put sprinkles on shit, it don't make it a cupcake. Let me tell you that right now, sister. So stoned. But really, there was no downside to allowing women to vote. I mean, there was no logical presentation that why women shouldn't vote. There wasn't. It would cause a collapse in the economy, or so on and so forth. It was just they would refer to the Bible passage. Timothy something, blah blah blah, and that's kind of a primitive argument. You will say, well, it maintains the family values, but our country was based. Democracy is based off of allowing as many people to vote as possible, and the majority rising above, not letting the people who you want to vote, the head of the family, the man, the hard-working man, vote. It's not about that. It's about letting everyone vote. And that includes the women, and the black people, and your annoying neighbor from down the street, and the feminists, believe it or not. And then you also say family screens who you marry. They know you better than you do, because you're horny, and you clearly don't know anything about yourself when you're horny. This is kind of retarded. I take that back. I didn't mean to be standoffish, but it is true that when you're a teenager, you're stupid. You're usually not going to get married when you're a teenager. Well, no, actually, then they did get married when they were a teenager. But now, you usually don't get married when you're a teenager. But, because, yeah, you don't really know yourself. But your family isn't really looking out to marry you based on your happiness. They're looking to benefit the family. They're looking for the person who you'll inherit the farmland. They're looking for the person who, would have the biggest, what's it called? Dowry. Thank you, little voices in my head. Shh. Do you hear the voices too? Shh. But yeah, this is, I mean, you say this isn't true, then how come a beggar who is an incredibly friendly person would never get married? How come the poor would marry the poor and there was no, class intermarriage? It's because what I just stated is true. They weren't out for your happiness. They were out to benefit the family, and they would assume that if it's benefiting the family, it's benefiting you. And if you just get stuck with a drunken asshole, well, oh well, way to take one for the team, sport. Now, I'm about to go, you kind of jump out of the 1800s and how awesome the 1800s, the whole, not having electricity thing was, way back then, back in the olden days. We're going to kind of jump out of you talking about how awesome that was. We're going to go into modern times. And before we do that, I just want to say something. Define something, actually, because in order to have a proper argument, you need to define what you're arguing. Feminism. There is feminism, and there is what we view it as. Feminism is equality between a man and a woman. They can both vote. They both get benefits, equal. Now there's what we like to confuse it for. I can't pronounce it. Misandry. Misandry. It's hating men. It's wanting more equality than men. This is found amongst, granted, extremist feminists. The ones you see on news all the time. These are common amongst feminists. Because fact is, anyone who supports women's rights is a feminist. But most of them aren't saying that women are above men. It's just what the media wants to show you. Because it will get you to tune in from 10 to 8. It will get you to view more commercials. It's more interesting. Reality is boring as hell. Newsflash. I hope my Cockney attitude is bothering you now. I hope not. Alright, now we go on to say, the whole biochemical high thing. That we're basing, the biochemical high, alright. What feminism has allowed women is to choose who they want to marry. Alright? What you're saying causes the problem is women thinking they run the joint. Or, not staying when the butterflies go away. Thinking there's something on the other side of the fence. This, I think, is caused by a paradox of choice. Choice is supposed to give you more freedom, but in fact, just a lot of choice causes you a lot of problems. Women now think, men, you seem to focus on women all the time, but men do this too. We like to think that we will have the perfect life. That we, as Americans, will have the perfect life, the perfect family, the perfect man. And this isn't perpetuated by feminism. This is perpetuated by consumerism. This is perpetuated by the American dream, so to speak. And I don't see how feminism perpetuates this idea. Feminism is that I am equal. Feminism is that I don't have to be pushed around by you. This thing we like to tag onto feminism because it's more interesting. It's better to argue. I will admit that argument isn't quite as fleshed out as I would like it to be, but I'll have more on that. I'll be back. No father figure. You also talk about there being no father figure. Usually when there's no father figure, the father figure was not a good father figure. The father figure is usually abusive in that case. A good loving father who cares about their children will stay when the butterflies aren't there. But there's a point where feminism allows a woman to divorce. And there's a point where you need to get divorced, where he's abusive. And frankly, a bad father is much worse than no father. No father leaves you confused. A bad father leaves you scarred. I don't know. Comment on that. Then 442, in your argument, you mention we have too much choice in society. You even say it, like go to that part. Here, I'll even wait. 442. Alright, you saw it? Yeah. Too much choice. That's the problem. The paradox of choice, biznitches. We think we're maximizers, not satisficers. A maximizer is someone who wants to have the best. A satisficer is the one who knows that they already have the best, and the best isn't perfect, and that's not caused by feminism. And then you also present MySpace. We all meet each other from MySpace. We laugh at the people who hook up on MySpace. There are skits about people who hook up on MySpace. It's satirical to our society, the people who hook up on MySpace. I just thought that was interesting. Thought I'd go over that real quick. You also we're softened by females. The feminist movement has made men lose their, rough and tumble. Women get in the fucking kitchen and listen to what I say. Alright, you say that being a nice, sensitive guy doesn't work. What does? Being a dick? Are you really going to use this argument? Being a dick is what you do? Women don't like to be treated bad. They like to be treated well. There is such thing as being a pushover, but this isn't taught. This is not taught by feminists. This is taught by pushovers. Alright? Alright. Scratch that. You're gonna say it is. Chivalry's not dead. Being a nice guy works. Guy who says it doesn't, it's because you don't meet the perfect jawline and you're in high school. Oh yeah, one more thing. You're in college, alright? I don't know, maybe I should give you this message. No one's that interested in getting married in college. They meet in college, maybe, but they don't get married in college. The divorce rate is really high, in case you haven't noticed, in younger people who get married in college, who think they have to get married. Hey, that's a good counter-argument. If you get married too soon, thinking you have to get married, you're gonna get divorced, because you're still gonna be going off of the emotional high, or whatever you call it. Yeah. You also say at one point, people seem to respond to your videos naturally, like it's like an ingrained, conditioned response. If you ask someone to go jump off a cliff, they're gonna say no. It's not because they're conditioned to do it, it's because it's stupid to do. Jumping off a cliff is not a smart thing. So is limiting women's freedom and blaming the feminist movement on people not being logical creatures. I hope you've watched this entire video. I'm sorry if I've made you think too much. You are a very attractive man. You're less attractive when you open your mouth. I'm kidding. You're actually very smart. I like you. Other lady, don't let them tell you that your short hair isn't sexy. Short hair is sexy. In case you haven't noticed, I am under the influence. And I live in a family that has a mother and a father. I go to church. I say my prayers. I'm still a Satanist, crazy asshole. You know why? Because it's what's taught today on television, not in feminism. Wait, no, that's right. The feminists have taken over everything. They've taken over television. Bill O'Reilly is a feminist. Oh my God. This is me signing out. Hi, Stone.